everybody. It's Shelly Hoffman, and I am here with our mayor. It's Wednesday, and luckily my computer started acting better. If you look at my Facebook post, my personal one, if we're friends, I looked a little scary this morning. So luckily, Mayor, I'm looking a little bit better. Maybe still scary to some people, but much better. How are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. And it's nice because now I know when we're together, it's Wednesday. So now I can know that when I wake up tomorrow, oh yeah, it's Thursday because I was with Shelly yesterday. Um, when you're home all the time, every day seems the same. And
Yeah.
even when you retire, they say every day is Saturday, and it's true. But now every day is like no day. I mean, if it wasn't for Wednesday, I would never have any idea what day of the week it was. So thank you.
You're welcome.
This is a big week for the community because Halloween on Saturday. My wife is telling me to back up.
Oh.
Everybody's a critic. But Saturday's a big day for Halloween. There will be trick or treating. I guess it's going to be in the high 40s and sunny on Saturday, so at least it's not going to rain, but it is going to be cold. People are going to, that I've talked to in our neighborhood, and I'm assuming around the village, are going to try to find ways to, handle some kids and distribute some candy and make the day kind of nice. And I don't even like to use the word normal, but it kind of applies. You're trying to make it a little normal. More normal than it might be otherwise. Just remember, the police chief has asked everybody to wear masks as they have to in school, in other businesses and that type of thing. Keep some social distance. Don't clog together 3 or 4 groups of people. Be a little careful when you go up to people's houses that you don't get too close to them. Just pay attention to traffic. That's important too. Cars are coming down through. Some of them may not have little kids in their lives and aren't even realizing that it's Halloween and not expecting 3 or 4 little kids to dash out into the road as they cross the street for another bunch of candy. And drivers are having a hard time. It's dark. The leaves are in the road. It's wet, slippery. So it's a good time to practice safety. I would also like just to take a second. If you're reading and watching TV and listening about the spike in COVID around the country, not as much in New York, we've been pretty good, but don't forget our safety protocols that, the keep 6 feet distance. If you can't do that, wear masks. I wear a mask if I'm 8 feet away. I mean, I'm not gambling too much. Wash your hands as often as you can. Sterilize common use areas. If you have a counter at a business and people come in and put their hands on the counter, just wipe it off afterwards and help. I think we tend to get complacent and we get real tired, worn out, and a little revival. I'm asking our employees in the village to please remember that we set these rules out early on, and there's still the rules. It just doesn't sometimes seem as urgent, but it could be if one of your family members gets sick or you get sick, it could be very urgent. So let's see what else I have. The volunteer center, gearing up for Thanksgiving and Christmas. You can help by giving, whether it be money, whether it be food for the Thanksgiving baskets, whether it be toys and things like that for the Christmas baskets. Call the volunteer center. Make phone calls in your neighborhood. It's Thanksgiving time. Some people are separated from their families, unusually separated. Normally they might be together. There might be some older people alone. Make a phone call. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope everything's good over in your place. How you been? And don't hesitate to volunteer to help. And I think I talked last time about the different agencies that are hurting financially because giving is down, partly because some people aren't working and partly because they're not going to the places where they were exposed to the giving. They're not going to walks at the fairgrounds or at Long Branch or other parks where they raised money and threw it in the kitty. So, a lot of the groups that you favor, that you support are struggling. I think the ambulance corps, which survives on donations, basically, this is their time of giving. So you would certainly love to know that when somebody in your family needed an ambulance, they were there in 4 minutes, and you can help ensure that by giving to the ambulance corps, fire departments, all that type of stuff. If you feel so inclined, once in a while, drop off a box of donuts at the ambulance corps or at the fire department just to say thank you. It's a nice treat, and it makes them think people pay attention and notice that they're around.
Yeah. I want to mention real quick, Mayor, you brought up the volunteer center with the Christmas Bureau, and they did get a spot again. It's over in the Tops Plaza off of Downer, but
Okay.
I know they're making plans if people are kind of wondering what they're doing with COVID, as they are looking into, making sure everything's safe for the people bringing things in and dropping it off, for the families that are going to be collecting it. It was interesting to listen to Barb Presley, and Lori, who's in charge of it, just come up with those safety protocols to make sure that it's, it's something that the community can still do for the families, but also to keep them safe. But they did get a place, same place as last year, over off of Center Street.
And I know with Barb and Lori, we'll make sure it's safe, and they're good people to have in charge. And it's still the needs, and maybe more. And then I don't know if you've ever been over there when they're getting their stuff ready for the Christmas stuff, but I think I stopped over last year because we just, rather than buy toys, we just give them a check and figure they can go get what they know they need to plug a hole in an age group type thing. But Janet Therian took me out back where they have all the boxes being put together. I mean, it's like this big storage area, and it's full of boxes. I mean, it looked like, I was guessing close to 200 boxes. I think they did 180 people last year, 180 families.
I'm not sure.
I bet there's going to be more than that this year. People on unemployment, that just buying a lot of Christmas presents isn't going to be in the cards. So
maybe the Pac B ran a live video last year, and they went back into that room. So if anybody's interested to see exactly how many boxes were there, I'm sure you can find it around November, December on Pac B's Facebook page.
Okay.
But they did a good job of just showing the need and what people donate and what the community does. But I couldn't believe the amount of boxes back there. It really is eye-opening.
Yeah, and I got to think that the families that get those things are so grateful, and may have no idea who's helping, other than somebody shows up at the door. I don't know if they come Christmas Eve day, exactly when they deliver. I know that our son Ed, when he was an active police officer with the sheriff's department, would go in the city and they have a giveaway. Used to be, I know Jack Schmidt was very heavily involved in running the operation, and they would go on a Saturday, maybe the Saturday before Christmas or 2 Saturdays before, but it was, I think it was worked out so the kids weren't home wherever they were going. The idea was go somewhere, get your kids out, and we'll bring them, then you can stash them away. And,
Nice.
I hope I'm not giving away any secrets to people where they came from. So I think, I don't know about the rest of the world, and I know it sounds kind of trite a little bit, but I feel better giving stuff like that than I do if somebody comes and gives me a Christmas gift. So just to think that some 6-year-old kid or 10-year-old kid might open a package and his eyes or her eyes light up, and there is a Christmas. I mean, life has been tough, but we still got something. That's a good feeling. And I hope other people get a chance to share that feeling. Let's see. I'll flip over here. Checking with Chuck McAuliffe, who's kind of running things at our DPW right now, and they have been very busy, and Chuck has been extremely busy trying to do that job and then doing some of the the office work that the engineer would normally do. it really is kind of the end of the season. The kayak launches are coming in, the docks are coming in. The canal is closed, so you can't get through the locks anyways. So all that stuff is going to be stored for the winter. And it ended up a short summer, but very busy. If you watch the wall, I mean, there were boats over there. There were times that the entire wall was full of boats, and our kayak launches got a ton of use. Just one of the best things we did, 3-4 years ago when they got put in, and it attracts a lot of people to our village because they like to be able to launch and go to Cross Lake or launch on the other side at Community Park and go down to Onondaga Lake or over to Three Rivers. So the end of that season, hopefully it'll start on time next year and people will be enjoying. Kind of hopefully we'll get at a point where we won't forget what happened this year, but we'll be able to block it out for a while. The hydrants are done. They flushed all the hydrants. A couple need to be replaced before the snow flies, but Chuck and the crew are busy. They got salt in. About 3/4 of our salt has been delivered, so we're ready for winter. And I'm not asking winter to come because we're ready. I'm just letting everybody know that things are getting done the way they're supposed to. If you have any questions for the DPW, 635-9665. Brush is continual. At this point, I think Chuck is kind of feeling that the brush crew will be working almost 5 days a week to keep up with the amount of brush that's being put out now. The last mowing of grass, and I went out Sunday and basically vacuumed up leaves with the mower, emptied the bag 8-9 times down at the road. Another reminder, please don't put your stuff in the road. This time of year is the worst. Kids are coming home from sports practice. It's already getting dark. I mean, it was dark the other night at 5 after 6. I happened to notice. Kids are walking home from school at 5:30 from practice. They have to walk around piles of leaves in the road. Cars are coming both ways. Very dangerous situations in streets that don't have sidewalks. I know you don't want to ruin your lawn. Don't put it out too early. Put it out the day, I put it out on Sunday if the pickup is Monday. It won't ruin your lawn. If it's bags of stuff, you can put it at the end of your driveway. Please think of safety for people who have to drive or walk those streets. Nothing new in the courts, still the same setup. 635-6355 is the number, particularly if you have questions about traffic stuff, and Cheryl or Deb will take care of you. And things have just been ticking along pretty good, I guess. No concerns. Canton Woods, a lot of their programs have moved inside. The 4 main programs that have, fall prevention, Tai Chi, the book club, and the art club have moved inside, and they have the whole big room, and everything has been spread out. Windows have been open. It's for ventilation. People are wearing masks, and they're following everything over there is following the CDC guidelines. And surprise, surprise for people, bingo coming back to Canton Woods during the day, 1 day a week. If you want to find out more detail, the newsletter's coming out. We'll have more details. But here's basically what's going to happen. You're going to have to sign up ahead of time so they know how many people are coming. They're going to limit it 12, 14, 15 people to play bingo. There'll be 2 at a table on opposite sides of the tables. They'll use throwaway cards that you mark instead of putting the little discs on the numbers. You'll actually have the dauber that you mark your number in. And if you're done with it, it'll get thrown in the basket. Millie Flett will come in and do the calling. Apparently she has done the calling before. And so that'll make it a little more comfortable for people. But again, CDC guidelines. Can't bring any food in that somebody might want to come over and grab a piece of a donut that you have. You can bring beverage for yourself. No lingering afterwards. When it's over, you're going to be asked to exit the building. Social distancing, masks. But they've been asking for bingo. And I know that Ruth had talked to Cicero, and Cicero has started bingo with basically the same guidelines and limiting the numbers. It's a start. I used to see them playing bingo, and there weren't huge amounts. It wasn't like they had 300 people playing bingo. It's a small number. I would guess when I saw them, there were between 10 and 15 people, and that's kind of what they're shooting for. But it's one more thing, and it'll be probably on a day that the two physical things, the fall prevention and the Tai Chi, are in the morning on Tuesday. The book club and the arts usually in the afternoon. This is going to be a different day, so it spreads it out a little bit. But overall, I think seniors should be fairly pleased that things are starting to look like you can do a little something.
Well, this is a tough time of the year. Like you said, it gets dark so early. So if they can get out before people can get out and do things before it gets dark, it's depressing.
Yeah.
How many times did we say COVID was a bad period of time, but at least it was like kind of spring and summer? Because in the winter, people tend to get bored a little bit easier. There's not as much to get out and do. So the fact that they're bringing bingo, I think, is huge. And hopefully, if this goes well, Ruth can find more and more things to kind of bring in and spread out in the facility.
You got it right on the money. And I don't know if I gave the number for Canton Woods. If you have any questions, 638-4536. Again, that goes to the update that Ruth gave me. The building will not be used for indoor programs on election day because it is a polling place. So there will not be any indoor programs on November 3rd. So if that's a normal day for Tai Chi, hopefully your instructor will have let you know that you won't have it that day, or outside if it's nice. I mean, I don't know what the weather's supposed to be for Tuesday, but if it was 60 degrees, I suppose, the book club wouldn't mind meeting in the gazebo. Wear a little heavier coat and chat, that type of stuff. Down memory lane every Monday at 4:00. Check with Ruth over at the center for the Zoom information. If you've been on before, it's the same Zoom sign on. Just keep coming back. This past Monday, we had 4 different Zoom participants, 6 people total. Very interesting. We just talked about the change of seasons, what seasons people enjoy, food that goes with it, things they remember how were when they were younger. So if the seniors are looking for just a chance to meet with other seniors, it's very low key. We give everybody a chance to share, and we don't make anybody share if they don't want to. It's been kind of fun. My wife and I both get a kick out of it. So that's Mondays at 4. If you know somebody, if you are that somebody, or you know somebody that might need a dinner at Thanksgiving or a dinner at Christmas, contact the Senior Center. The Rescue Mission will be delivering meals for both Thanksgiving and Christmas. The deadline to sign up for Thanksgiving is November 6th, which is a week from Friday, right? Yes. And the Christmas dinner deadline is December 4th. So you get signed up, you have to be home. They bring the dinner. I'm guessing they probably bring it the day before, like the Wednesday of Thanksgiving, you'll probably get the food delivered. I don't know if maybe it'll even be frozen but I'm guessing it's going to be some turkey and some mashed potatoes and stuffing and maybe a piece of pumpkin pie. Nice treat for seniors that don't have anywhere to go. Maybe they didn't have anywhere to go before the COVID. Now they got less place to go. Call the center, 638-4536. Peace lunches, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Call a couple days in advance to reserve for that, whichever day you want. And you also get a menu. Don't forget Friday, 2:00 for seniors. It's Drive Up Halloween Treat Day. You'll get a treat, and if you have a costume on, your name gets put in the bucket for a drawing. Cool. So that'll get you out of the house Friday and get yourself a little, I'm guessing it's going to be a sweet treat. So there you have it. Nancy Sullivan's waiting for you to call if you have any issues with HEAP or any other concerns. She's been there all along. And they are having fundraisers. They have Christmas wreaths that they're selling, put together by North Country Florists. Call the center for more details on the wreaths. And then the calendar fundraiser, which my wife is involved with, is going great guns. She ordered an initial batch of 200, and it's down to about 50 of them left. You can explain. I know that your daughter is going to be available Thursday night for people who want to buy any in person. Can
Yeah.
you tell them people exactly where to go?
Sure. I talked to your wife. So to buy any, or if those 50 are gone, they can go on a list for like a second order. But so the building, my daughter Allison is going to be in the Heart Home Community Building, which is 12 Oswego Street. I tell people it's the Broken Clock Building, but within like a month and a half, Mayor, I don't think I'll have to say that anymore. Hopefully that clock gets fixed. But the Village Square. So I always say you have Beeville Diner, you have the Family Dollar, you have Sammy's. There's all that village parking. If you pull into that parking, 12 Oswego Street is now kind of a grayish building with white lights, and the community room is on the second floor. So I'll be in the building as well. But Allie was looking forward to doing something, and we worked it out with Linda that she could sit there. So if you ordered a calendar and you haven't picked it up yet, that's the time that you can pick it up. If you want to buy a calendar, they're $20. You can buy them that day. Or if we run out of them, which at the rate she's going, we very well may, you can order one for the next batch and then we'll get it to you. But it's Thursday from 5 to 7 at 12 Oswego Street.
So it's great. Your daughter's agreed to do that. For people who are a little unfamiliar with that part of the village, it's sort of between the barbershop and Sheehan's in the middle of that long stretch. And then you'll see the sign for Shelley's Heart Home Community thing. And that's where you go in. Yep. So those are available. And gotten very good reviews. People who have gotten them just raving about the pictures, and we have such a nice cross section of people who took the pictures. And the hardest part was some people got left out because there's only 12 months and kind of limits. I mean, some pages have 2, 3, 4 pictures on them, but it's kind of nice. What we're finding is a lot of people really like them to send them to relatives out of town or friends that used to live in the village. And
I'll tell you why I bought one of them. Is I had a real estate coach out in Texas, and I was always talking to her about the village and how much I loved it. And I thought and she always says, I want to come see it, which hopefully one day she can. But if she can't, this is a way for me to share part of the village and what I think is beautiful about it with her. So I bought a calendar to send to Texas for someone who's never been here, but is kind of curious about how beautiful it is. So that's another reason to buy them.
I'm going to buy one and send to my buddy in Texas who was here a year ago in the summer. His son pitches for the Yankees, and his other son is a minor league coach in the Orioles chain, and they were playing in Binghamton. So he flew in to Binghamton. Then after he saw a couple games, he rented a car and came up here for 2 nights. And so basically 3 days, 2 nights type stuff. And somebody posted, you may have seen on Facebook, a batch of pictures of the river and said, an hour in Baldwinsville, and just gorgeous pictures of the river. And he posted how he got to see the beauty of the village a year ago with a couple of his special friends, and what a nice place. And so I'll send him a calendar so he'll have year-round look at Baldwinsville. He really was impressed with the way the river comes right through the middle of the village and how we play off it a little bit. So that's not something that always happened. I think Dan O'Hara was one of the visionaries who saw, if we're going to do anything with the village of Baldwinsville, we've got to take advantage of the river coming through it. The trails got put in. We upgraded parks and stuff. That's been a continual thing now, where we just keep upgrading all that infrastructure, because A, it's good for the people who live here, and B, it attracts people from outside, because if you're going to walk, I do want to walk. No offense to the people of Solvay, for instance, but do you want to walk down the street in Solvay, or would you rather walk on Syracuse and Oswego Street in Baldwinsville and cross the bridge and see the ducks and the geese and people fishing that you could see in Baldwinsville? So the river has become a great ally of our businesses, our village, and I hope we continue to embrace that for a long time.
Well, did
Can't
you?
forget to remind people, this is a combination codes and police thing. November 15th is the first day of the overnight ban on street parking in the village. We have already gotten 2 or 3 emails asking when that starts. People
Okay.
get nervous. It is a problem. There are some areas where people live where their driveway really only handles one car, and so they park on the street all summer, and in the winter they got to figure out a different way to park. And we try not to be too harsh on people in the beginning. We usually put warnings on their cars. We try to explain to people that this is a snow removal issue. Obviously, on November 16th, we don't get 3 feet of snow very often. But if we don't start at some point, it's like an education program from the 15th through to about Thanksgiving. We try to encourage people to realize they can't park on the street when it is going to be a problem. And so November 15th, no parking on the street. And we do have municipal parking lots that are available. Read the signs, because some of them have odd even. You park one half on odd days, the other. So that way we can keep it plowed when we get snow on consecutive days. The crew that's coming in can at least get one half of that area plowed out today, and then hopefully when they come in tomorrow, they can plow the other half. That's usually in effect till like 7 o'clock in the morning, so that, if you work night shift and come home at 7:30, you probably can park anywhere in the parking lot. But and it's an issue. It's an issue here because it's an old village that was constructed. Some of the houses are built with, like too close to the houses next to them in certain parts of the older parts of the village before there were any kind of zoning laws. Some of the houses have been divided into like multiple apartments. And so instead of having 2 cars, there's 5 that go there, and more kids are getting cars while they're still in school. So there's people just run out of parking. It is an issue. We try to be understanding, but we also have to be understanding of emergency situations and protecting we cannot not plow streets because cars are parked out there. You see stories every winter in Syracuse where side streets at dead end don't get plowed because people have parked in the street, and the snow plow comes through at 4 o'clock and turns and looks and says, I can't get through there. Right. So they just back out and go. So that street doesn't get plowed out for 3 or 4 days, and people who have to go to work can't get out. We can't have that. So we just hope people are understanding. But if you have a question for the police department, 635-3131 or codes 635-2481. Codes Officer Greg Humphrey said he's still about 35 permits ahead of last year at this time. It's been a good year for people to do things. Whether that will ever hold true for the future, I don't know. I got to think that next year people will be looking to get out of town and get on vacations that they skipped this year. It's hard now to think about vacation, because if you go to a state it's on our list of, bad states, and you come back, you have to quarantine for 10 to 14 days. And so I don't have a whole lot else. I hope everybody has a nice Halloween, stays safe, people are understanding. I know that on the Candlewick page, people were asking, new people in the development were asking, how many people should we expect? I said we usually have between 75 and 100 kids come through. Somebody else was lower, somebody else was higher. But nobody has a real feel for how many will be here this year.
Well, I was going to say, if I'm not sure if you had a chance to drive through the village on Saturday, but it was the first time since COVID started that the village had a lot of life to it. Masks and social distancing, everything looked pretty safe. But there was a lot of kids coming through trick-or-treating, and when we were handing out our candy, some of them said, this is the trick-or-treating that my kids are doing, because they felt like the businesses were given the guidelines. They felt that it was a safe place for the kids to trick-or-treat. And then there was other parents that came through that said, we're going to trick or treat just on a couple streets where we know the people. And then there was other parents who said, my kids are going to go out normal as is. So I think it's going to be a good mix of some just are staying home, some are just doing a few houses, and then you have, the kids that are just going to be out and about.
Yeah.
My 15-year-old's going out and about, and she's dressed as a cow. So I don't think it's a whole blow up thing. I don't think anything's getting near her. So she's probably going to be, we'll see.
Because I said, you have two options. It's either most everybody's going to stay home and just say the heck with it, or everybody's going to say, this is a chance for the kids to get out, go. So.
Well, Saturday was a chance for those kids to get out. It was beautiful. The windows look awesome in the village. Parks and Rec put that on, and the chamber with the trick or treating. The churches, they had good turnouts, and I believe the Rotary did as well for the Pints for Polio. So it was just, as you know, in the village Dork, it was amazing to stand in the middle of the village and see it.
I saw pictures, from downtown somebody took, and it looked like a lot of different businesses, and we're all different kids in the pictures. And I know somebody from our church posted the trunk or treat thing, and there were, it was a pretty good line of vehicles coming in, and they were happy with the amount of people that came through. I saw pictures of some of the windows that got painted, and so hopefully it was the kind of thing that will carry people through for a couple of weeks. We're getting closer to Thanksgiving. That'll be a little bit something to look forward to, and I just hope we can keep people safe. I mean, I hope we don't get another big outbreak where we have to start cutting back. I know it's got to be hard. Some of the restaurants, I see they're taking tables in from off the sidewalk because it's really, we're past the point of people sitting at tables in 48-degree temperatures eating dinner. I just hope they can all find a way to keep the coffers full so they can pay bills and make it worth staying open. And again, I give nothing but credit to our businesses that have survived this because of the way they've been creative, the way they, instead of said, oh, poor me, they said, this is different. We got to do something different. And let's go. I mean, places that never did delivery before do delivery now. Maybe a whole new avenue for them, particularly in the wintertime. I mean, there's a lot of people who, geez, you want to go out and eat? I really don't want to throw on my boots and a coat. But if we could order from Angry Garlic, or we could order from Sal's, or, I mean, some of those places did delivery, but it makes people are more likely to order out if they don't have to go out in the weather. So let's hope maybe it's created a nice revenue stream for people, and we can get through to where we can be. I hate that word normal, but what we thought of as normal, or close to that, or something. That's all I got, Jill.
All right. Well, as always, it was a lot of good information. So thank you, Mayor. I will talk to you next week, if not before.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.